hadn't looked at where the hell is Lidl Trek.
It's 12, number 12.
12. Oh, well, never mind. God, okay. Nobody, I thought, Teo Gegenhardt's not on Lidl Trek for the Giro.
Probably for the tour.
Yeah. Well, shit. I guess you guys are staring at your papers, so I'll just
do your thing.
Quietly start all by myself. Fine. I don't need you guys. Before we begin, sponsor mentions and some of our great supporters. Cycle Systems Online. Become your own mechanic. Work in the industry. Learn how to properly diagnose, repair, and maintain all of your bikes. Cycle Systems Online is just what you need at your own pace with all the best instructors in the business. Big thanks to Cycle Systems Online. Great classes. Scratch Labs. Have you tried the super high carb mix yet? Concentrated liquid energy made with cluster dextrin. It just sounds kind of cool, although cluster kind of has a word to it. A complex carbohydrate that is highly soluble but digests steadily like real food. Pop open your bottle, drink, and go. Brilliant way to fuel that gets you through the long efforts and it's easy on the gut. Flexible fuel designed for athletes who push so hard that they can't take in enough calories from real food to maintain their performance, or lazy eaters like me. Easy to adjust to your needs. Use our link. And finally, NordVPN. You want to watch the Giro properly? Can't find the way to make it happen? Well, with NordVPN, you're just a few clicks away from letting the internet know you are safely connecting via another IP address that allows you viewing of all the bike races out there. That's right, completely okay to do and safe to boot. So try out NordVPN using our link. Let's do this. Let's play bikes.
Well, I want you guys to know I listened last week, and I was listening while I was driving, and I kept talking.
Because you want to interject?
I kept, and I'm like, I'm in the middle of Arizona,
Pat, but
it's my turn.
Yeah. I was like, oh,
this
is weird.
is my segment.
Yeah.
Now we know how Jack feels.
Yeah.
Every single week.
Yep.
We have arrived at the shifting of the seasons. No, not spring to summer, not clear skies to smoke, but from classics to grand tours. It is time to settle in for the long stories and put away those comic book shorties that you've been following so far up to this time. It's also time for the longest running cycling podcast out there. It is time to visit the Rim Break Bar and delve into the world of bikes on the Packfiller Podcast. We're a bit short-handed tonight. I haven't switched the cameras around, and if they do switch horribly tonight, that's because I'm switching the cameras. Where was I? Oh, yeah. But with all plentiful of opinions, a little ball busting, and some occasional bursts of genuine insight. Let's see who's here with our prologue question tonight, shall we? Gentlemen, if your like was captured in the expectation versus reality meme, I don't know, you guys seen that? It's like what people think my life looks like and what it really looks like kind of a thing. Expectations versus reality. I'll go first on this one just to give you guys a hint. So, What would the two pictures be? You'd have to have two pictures describing your life. So for me, I'm able to race bikes without the fear of bleeding to death, at least soon. I'm Pat Bulger, and my expectation is of an energetic, outgoing teacher, but with reality be that I'm basically a shut-in loner.
Honestly, I think it's possible that you exude both of those.
Yeah, you could be right.
Both of those truths are
Yeah, I get so many
accurate.
people thinking like, God, you're just so always out there. You know, you announce and you teach theater and you're blah 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 blah. And I'm like, I just want to fucking go home. Yeah. Don't talk to me. I just want to be in my own little world. I'm by myself.
I noticed that at the grocery store. You do that.
I don't ignore you. It's just I don't see you. Maybe I have a vision problem. All right. So I noticed I'm going with Abel. So next, he's able to big ring the climbs to an amazing degree. I followed you side by side, and I knew you were taking care of me up that climb this last weekend. But you were in the big ring on like 11%, 12%, and I was just like going, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's when I'm thinking I need to get a 28. on there.
Oh my gosh.
On the rear, not on the
On the
front.
rear, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you poor knees.
His name is Mr. Paul Main. How are you, man?
Good.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
So if you had the expectation versus reality of your life and you had to put it into like, you don't have to obviously show the images because this is an audio podcast, but how would you describe the I challenged him with young stuff.
Yeah, because, I'm a little long-winded on stories.
Yeah.
I think that, just my perception is just a simpleton farm boy.
Oh, no.
Yeah. That's probably the image I would think I am. But in reality, I'm a long-winded, narrow-minded bigot. No, I'm just kidding. That's not true.
See,
No.
it goes from... Actually, I would probably put you as like a picture of Dave Stoller from Breaking Away as the image. And then the reality is like the grandpa from Up.
Yeah, pretty much. That's
With the
you
tennis
nailed it.
balls on the
Yeah.
walker, kind of a thing like that.
I will be that way.
Yeah. Third, and believe it or not least, you notice that we haven't had people coming in late. We don't have people in the background going, We don't have...
I put my
Cameras working
tapioca
properly.
in your fridge.
Yeah, Next, he is able to take time off the bike and still kick ass, Mr. David Waples. How are you, man?
I'm good, yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
we're going to get into that. But talk to me about reality versus expectations. Dr. Waples.
I think that's what it revolves around. I think there's the reality of what it means, or the expectation of what people think of when they think of working in the medical field, and it's Patrick Dempsey or whatever, Grey's Anatomy, like everything's so everybody's banging in the closets and saving lives, and then
Closets.
relationships and drama and saving lives, and then the reality for me is like finding a good pooping bathroom in the hospital where I can sit for long enough and like scroll charts on my phone. So, yeah, that's how it really
I like
goes.
that. That
Yeah.
that
But you
actually works.
sanitize your phone when you're done.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
yeah.
that's what I
Yeah.
figured.
It's waterproof, so I can wash it with my hands.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Jesus.
For that reason.
for that reason.
Oh my God! Well, that's it for tonight. We are missing Sam and we are missing Jackson tonight for various reasons. I'm sure Sam is being all dramatic and lying in bed with the air pressure shit things on.
No,
and,
yeah,
his
squeezing his
recovery
legs
and, it's like going, I gotta get ready. He's playing Eye of the Tiger in the background or Danger Zone. We gotta
Danger
go.
Zone.
We gotta
Danger
go.
Zone,
Yeah,
there we
he's
go,
playing
yeah.
Danger Zone in the background and just like, beating himself in the chest.
So
Eye of the
excited.
Tiger, motherfucker! Eye of the Tiger.
So excited for it to be over
Yeah.
for
Really?
him. Yeah,
Are you?
so we can stop hearing about it.
Well, as it is just the three of us, let's catch up on our cycling lives. I'm going to start with Paul. Paul, how was your cycling week?
We rode together, Saturday?
Sunday.
And Sunday. What did I do
Did we
Saturday?
ride on Saturday?
I rode
I
Saturday.
rode both days.
I think we were all on our own.
Oh, we were.
Yeah, I did.
We were.
I did that.
You did
little-
hill repeats.
Yeah, there's a little kind of series of hills, south west of Spokane that I go up and down. It's Eagle Ridge is the development.
Yeah.
I go up there, and there's Mill Road, and then there's
It's a good repeat.
Lincoln, and I do like 4 climbs, Cedar.
It's a good repeat.
So yeah, pretty close to like 30 miles and almost 33,000 feet of climbing.
Jeez.
But I think it ended up being only 26. So.
Was Sunday fast-ish?
Yeah, I think the boy. I was happy to be hanging behind Jackson and Sam.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I needed to hear that. I really effing needed to hear that. So talk to me about this grandpa moment from the weekend. Papa's buying a bike.
Yeah,
Papa's got a
so
brand new bike.
my grandson turns 9 years old, and he wanted to buy a bike, and well, that was on his list. So my wife thinks, okay, a bike, that's like what, $100?
Yeah, absolutely.
How long has she known you?
Yeah, I know. and I said, you're going to be surprised, you know.
Yeah.
So I got him a mountain bike, and it's got a triple up front. It's got 7 speeds in the back. I mean, it's just a little bit big for him right now, but
Sure.
the kid's going to be a giant. So
You know how many people are screaming right now in shock and horror about the fact that you bought a mountain bike?
I totally believe that kids should start with BMX bikes.
I agree.
And they should go to mountain bikes and cyclocross before touching a road bike. I mean, you road bike just because you have to learn that skill.
Yeah.
And I think that comes from a lot for me because I know a lot of great runners that, transferred over the bike. And that's kind of like, how Zwift did. You got these guys that can do tons of power.
Yeah.
And you're like, what are you doing, dude? You're going to kill us all.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I don't think he's big into it, but his little brother is a speed demon. He can't go fast enough. I mean, yeah, and then that's how I was. So we'll see if one of the two will arrive.
You were describing it pretty funny on the ride. He's just like going, "Don't leave without me! Don't
Oh,
leave
yeah,
without
that's
me!" And
him,
then
yeah.
he's right. You're helping his older brother ride around in the
Get him set up and showing how the gears work because
Yeah.
he's never had a bike with gears. And his little brother comes out and he's been sick and he's just like coughing and he starts crying. And he's like, "Oh my God, don't leave!" And he goes, "I'm just going around the block." And Leif's the older brother and he's being really nice. "I'll wait for you. I'll wait. Get off the bike. Wait for me. Where's my bike?" He's just panicking the whole
Oh
time.
my gosh.
He's got his helmet on. He's running around, tears running down his face. He's going to be 7 in August, but I mean, man, he loves his bike. So.
Fast forward 30 years, and he's going to be the same way when he's late for the coffee ride.
There we
on
go.
a Saturday morning.
That's right.
Be broke as hell, but happy, right?
Yep.
So, I don't want to provide details or entrance codes or anything like that, but you've started a bachelor's span.
Yeah.
Wife is gone first.
My wife, I took to the airport at Spokane Airport this morning around 9 o'clock, or actually 7. I dropped her off. Her flight left at 9. And she's heading to Norway to learn. She's a big knitter. And she's learning a Viking and Norwegian style of knitting that's unique. And it's a 7-day kind of span in this exclusive place north of Oslo. It's a five-hour train ride. They have a couple of excursions. They're going to do some hikes and look at the fjords and that type of thing and go to a sheep farm and get, wool and see how it's all starts finishing.
As somebody, I can't remember who I was speaking to about this, about the concept of what this trip was. And I was just like, it's going to learn a knitting style. And somebody gave me a look and I'm like going, you know what? I would travel halfway across the world to learn the proper way to lace a wheel or something like that.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
so let, just shut up.
Well, and she's not your normal knitter because...
Or to pick up Wout van Aert's water bottle that he dropped in Harrisburg. Yeah. Like
That's
you went
just
all that
whenever
way
you're
for
passionate
garbage?
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she's not your normal knitter. I mean, she's kind of a savant with it because she took lessons. Her grandmother in Germany tried to teach her. And of course, she's like 14 years old. Like, whatever.
It was dumb.
Yeah. And then when she died, she picked up some of her needles after she died. And started knitting, and then I've worn a couple of sweaters that she's made. She's knitted,
on the show. Yeah.
And gloves and socks, wool socks. Oh God, they're heavy. They're just total heaven. And she does felts purses where
those are
shrink down.
I've seen those on her Facebook. They're
And she's got like 16. So she just wants to know the challenge.
While she's gone, what are your? How does Paul Main Bachelor? Do you just like going? I'm planning multiple rides. I'm doing all this shit, or is it like me? I honestly go to the grocery store and I buy food and I just sit at home
That's
and
what
I watch
they did
movies.
Today.
That's all
what
I
they
do.
did today. No, I plan on riding. The problem is our 10-year-old rat bastard Boston Terrier, and I've
What
got
about the dog? This guy
that's
gets in
the
the
thing.
way.
And on the way here, because he has to have a system, and I left, and we have this little thing called a furbo, and it's a little camera, and it shoots treats. And so I had it on my lap, and he starts howling, and it was different when we lived in the house. It's like, no big, he's not going to bother anybody, but I've got neighbors now, so they don't want to hear him all day long and everything. So, and I'm shooting treats all the way up here. I'm looking, I hear, God dang it. I just left my phone in the car. So I don't know what's going on right now.
Oh my gosh.
He's probably howling.
Oh, shit.
So
Maybe somebody could hack it for you and deliver treats while we talk here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Hard missing Tour de Bloom this weekend.
Yeah, I wish I was going. I like that race. I think it's well organized and stuff, and I think it would be kind of cool. I've done it back in its infancy, like 2000, I think 12 and 13, maybe 14. I did it in those time period, and I love the crit. The crit's my style.
Yeah.
A little uphill and a technical, half a block up, and I believe there's cobblestones on there too.
Oh wow.
And that compression, I mean, that's going to be...
And they're coming down on the backside you're talking about. Yeah.
The compression where it goes from 2 lanes to 1.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's so wild.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. No.
I think it's going to be good. I wish I could be there for Sam.
Yeah.
I wish I was racing, but I wish I could do that. But that damn stupid dog.
Stupid dog.
Yeah.
Dave, you're gonna be there
Right.
technically,
Yeah.
and you're gonna actually be at the crit technically.
Yeah, I'll be at the crit. Yeah.
What's
in the beer garden?
In the beer garden, yelling slander at Sam.
Now you're not going. You're not necessarily going for support though. You're going to race your
The
fat
torment.
tires.
He's going to torment him.
Yeah.
I'm going to torment him. Well, I'm going. I couldn't get. I couldn't get. I wanted to do the Friday, Saturday. Definitely couldn't get Thursday off. So I wanted to do Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but couldn't even pull Friday. So I'm going to do. There's a mountain bike race on Saturday in Wenatchee that I've settled on, and then there's an additional. I don't know the details on it yet, but there's like a mountain bike crit on that day as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll try to do that. We'll see. I don't know if it's like before the race or after or what.
I think it's in between.
I mean, if it's before or after the mountain.
It's like a kids race. They just let you go and
It's
go
like-
around,
yeah.
have some fun, fat tire.
Go play.
Yeah.
Yeah. But mostly I'll just sit there and yell at Sam.
Mm-hmm.
Do
Drink
you-
beer.
David, do you ride a lot off road? I mean, do you train off road?
I don't really train. It's hard for me to train off road. I know how to train on a road bike. Like I know how to get fitness on a road bike. I know the routes, the workouts. Like it's hard to go find somewhere where you can get what you want out of a workout on a mountain bike, in my opinion.
My question is about this: is you won the cyclocross series this fall?
Mm-hmm.
I don't see you out running and jumping barriers in August and September.
Right.
You don't talk about that.
No, I don't do that.
And you just had a really impressive event. And where were you?
Whiskey 50. It's in Prescott, Arizona.
Okay.
I would highly recommend to anybody who likes riding on dirt. It's a really well organized mountain bike race.
Paul, you want to go get your phone?
This is a good time.
They had
You can if you want. Yeah.
they had a 50-mile race, a 30 and a 20, and they had festivities the day before. They have a mountain bike crit, kind of like Wenatchee's doing, just for fun, for spectation. And they have a concert and a party afterwards until 9 p.m. at night. It's amazing, and I don't remember what the cost was on it. I don't think it was cheap. I registered a long time ago, but it's a great race if anybody ever was looking to do it.
And you went down there with obviously other things on your mind. You had other things going on. You had some family obligations and things like that you had to take care of, and we don't have to go into detail on that. But you, from what I'm here, and now it's all hearsay from me, from your brother or something like that. And we know how flaky that account can be. But you were stuck off the bike for a while.
I was, yeah. So I wanted to fly with my road bike because I was going down to Tucson to visit my grandparents. And to me, that seems like a great place to ride a road bike.
Yeah.
Get some training in. But, flying with two bikes is a bad idea. I had to take the mountain bike. So I was still hoping to get some mountain bike rides in. Unfortunately, visiting my grandma, she had both grandma and grandpa. Grandma had to go to the hospital, and we spent the week in the hospital with her. She's fine. If anybody's
okay,
wondering.
good.
Yep,
good.
she's good.
Okay.
Everything's good. It was actually from her blood thinner.
Oh, no. Hear. What?
She had a GI.
We should all be off of them.
We should all, including you. Yes. Eventually. But, details aside on that, I spent the whole week kind of sitting around the hospital and doing nothing. And I didn't even think I was going to do the race. I was about ready to see if I could maybe get them to give me my money back for a sob story. And then I was like, I'll just donate it. And then I found a way to make it up to the race. Got in 9:00 at night before the race. Don't feel like I did anything right from food, water standpoint or anything. But I barely had the bike together in the morning, and we rolled down to the start line. And I mean, this was the only activity I did last week, so not a great week for training, but I had a great time racing, and had no idea how big this race was even. I just did it with some friends, didn't realize there was 500 people in the race.
Jesus.
So starting at the back, didn't realize what that meant. But I was very pleased in the end. I finished 49th.
Dude, out of
520 or something.
Yeah.
And I started like right near the back. And it really all came down to, there was a bunch of wide open climbs. And so that's where I was able to make up my time. And yeah, it's great. I mean, I love riding mountain bikes. I don't know why Paul over here is so against it. It's a great style of racing.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what you're saying, the people that ride mountain bikes and cross tend to be somebody you want to follow in a crit. Like it's a wheel you want to sit on. And I can think of dozens of people that I just wish they would go do a cross race or a mountain bike race so that they were not just powerful, but also, good on the road.
You know what? I a couple of years ago when we did the RC3 crit, and I had spent the entire month of May doing mountain bike races, and May and June because it was in July. There was so much comfort in the field that if somebody rubbed a wheel or something like that, I didn't have a problem with it. And
right.
I want to get into that here in a minute because it's funny you brought that up because that's a topic I want to get into. I want to talk about me. I am racing my mountain bike tomorrow night, speaking of which. Our Wednesday night series starts tomorrow night. Yeah. And I think you and I are the only one representing.
Probably.
Yeah, because Jackson can't make it. My wife isn't even going to go. So, there we go. I have no emotional support.
Danielle's going. If we had our new kit, she'd be representing.
See? Come on. I don't really have any huge races on the calendar yet. I have RC3, the road race. I don't know why I'm flailing on it. I haven't pulled the trigger or anything like that, but why am I blanking on road races?
Why don't you do one of these Dirt Abides mountain bike races?
I will. But I was thinking of road races, though.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I haven't, other than RC3 in the Twilight series.
It's not going to work out for my schedule, but I was looking at Baker City.
I know,
Yeah.
Same. I don't think it's going to work out either.
There's too much climbing.
It's at the end. You get all the fun before. I mean, there's like rolling hills on the first road stage, and then you have a flat TT and a crit, and then the last day you just say, well, fuck it.
I'm screwed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
RC3 will be good, though.
I can only do the road race. I can't do the crit, which really bumps me out.
That's
Better than nothing, though.
Yeah,
Right.
This is true. We should mention that Jackson, although not here, managed his second consecutive victory of the season. Perfect scenario for him at that race. I don't know if you guys weren't there, but it turned into a situation where Jackson got into a 3-person break with 2 guys from the most represented groups in the field.
Beautiful.
Done deal at that point.
Yeah, and it was just brilliant. I mean, it was well done, and it was
saw the
a great
video.
race.
It looked like he was pretty easily able to take the final sprint.
It was closer than it looked. I will say
Was
that.
it?
Yeah, the guy who got second was dancing pretty strong. It was pretty good, but he kept at least a half a bike length on that. A wheel or a half a bike length on it. But I do want to talk about an incident that occurred in the race for Jackson. He talked about this at length, and I'm gonna, the names are going to be protected here. He placed his. The classic coming up alongside somebody and placing your hand on them to let them know you're there.
Sure.
I'm gonna ask you guys about the ethics of all that, and was returned with yelling and swerving. In fact, the person who he put his hand upon actually reached back, grabbed his hand, gripped his hand, and said, "Don't effing ever touch me." And that took Jackson by surprise. In fact, I think there was some swerving involved, things like that. I'm third person. I mean, I'm speaking from hearsay, and I'm not accusing anybody of anything. I want that to get out there in case this person who has like, they're fucking talking about me. Yeah, we are talking about you because it seems like there was a miscommunication in terms of what that physical touch within the peloton was used for. And so I'd like to ask you guys what your thoughts are about those types of situations where, I mean, and I've noticed it a lot, where if I touch somebody, you see their body physically tense. And, you know, either it's raging homophobia within the peloton, or it is some form of not expecting it, or is it a nervousness, or what? How would you guys equate it? Do you guys place hands on other riders to let them know you're there or anything like that? Do you guys ever do that? And I'm not saying place hands like laying of hands. I'm just like saying, hey, you know, I'm here. Just letting you know you're kind of closing the door on me.
Yeah. The only time that I think that I've ever done it was actually in a situation where it was a road race in the yellow line, and I was moving up against the yellow line, and this guy starts moving out.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
So I just touched him because I had nowhere to go.
Yeah.
You know, just like, no. And he kept pressing against me, and I had to push back because I was going to break, the center line rule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then finally he kind of backed off. When I went by, he punched me in the ribs.
No way.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it was a Tuesday night race. So,
oh my God!
But it just kind of little punch, not hard. I mean, he just like boom, like don't do that. So there is people out there that don't want that. I mean, there was a reason Jackson did that. He could have caused an accident behind. He was advancing past this guy, and he moved over. To me, that's a time to just like, hey, you know, I have nowhere to go.
Yeah,
you know, that's I think appropriate, but. For overreaction, I don't, getting just a little, punch in the ribs or swerve in front of somebody. That's in the heat of the moment. Racing, some people just react that way.
Punch me in the ribs, I would lose my shit.
Yeah.
I would lose my shit. I'd be like, the fuck, I was just letting you know I was.
And he's a nice guy too.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a nice guy.
I
didn't know him then, but I knew him afterwards. And it's just.
God, I wish we could use names. Anyways,
yeah. Well, you can if you just want them to burn in hell.
There we go. Yeah.
I'm not going to pick on the person who did it because I don't know the day he was going through or what the situation was or anything like that. And so anyway,
I do think there's a place for it. I've done it a handful of times. Similar situations, you're getting pushed off. I've used it to my advantage at times where I've used it to get by people in a crit, like advance. And I've also seen even recently I saw in one of these gravel races that we did, somebody was
pointed at ball.
I did because
gravel races.
I didn't think it was. I saw it and I thought it was weird. Somebody did something with their hands in a gravel race, and the guy got really upset. Probably similar to this, the guy that was touched or whatever. But I don't know that. It's definitely just a normal part of racing in certain scenarios. You have to be okay with touch in road racing. Like the biggest thing you learn when you first start road racing doing crits is that it is a contact sport.
You are bumping.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you can't just be like, don't touch me. Oh,
yeah.
Well, then you need to hang off the back or the front. You get two choices if you don't want to be touched. So if you're going to sit in the middle, you got to be okay with it. So
It struck me as strange. And now there are many times when I'll do it, I will preempt it by just saying, hey, just letting you know I'm here. Just letting you know I'm here, man. But I still to this day get people going, fucking what? Or something like that. But dude, I'm just letting you know I'm here. And usually they calm down. I've never been to the extent where the person has reached back, grabbed my hand and, and stared into me like, I was their next victim.
Yeah.
But so I don't know. And as I said, I can't go into this person's mind. I can't, I don't know the day they had. I don't know what's going on with that. But I found it interesting. Have you guys ever freaked out on anybody in a race?
No.
Just yelled at anybody?
Never.
Well, I've lost my shit. You guys really haven't lost your shit in a race?
No.
Oh, come on, you freaking
Sorry.
Cupid dolls. Really? Oh, well.
No.
This is why I stay at home and am quiet.
I've had times where it probably was right for me to yell, but I don't know if anything was going to be accomplished.
Really?
Yeah.
I do it
I
for
know
the
one-
sheer satisfaction.
One incident that happened in a sprint. A teammate of mine was up front trying to lead out, and he just ran out of gas and kind of like set up a little bit, and this other rider from a different team like had to slam his brakes on, and then he swerved, and then his I think it was his rear derailleur went into my front wheel, broke some spokes.
Oh, wow.
And the front wheel was just totally, and spokes were flying. I think 2 of them broke out. And he, right after he finished the race, he went to my teammates and was like, swearing at him, you shouldn't be racing, blah, blah, blah.
Really?
And I just pulled up to him and I said, hey, dude, there's no need for that.
Yeah.
I'll talk to him. Next time, just as tired as you are, you just got to make a slow move out of the way. He just kind of like took a deep breath, like I need to pull off, but he did it backwards, as opposed to, oh shit, I'm running out of steam, I'll move out of the way.
Yeah.
And but there's no reason, especially on a Tuesday night race. And then I said, by the way, you swerved into me when I was coming around you, and you knocked out 2 of my spokes.
Yeah.
And he calmed down after that.
You
though.
probably said it just like you
I
just
did.
described it.
Because
And
there's
that
no
really
reason.
upsets me.
Well, the thing is to me, how are we going to make this change? If I scream, then it justifies his overreaction. So,
well, and we've got these crit beef things going on right now. I think I was going to bring it up later in the show, but I don't know if any of you guys were watching the Athens Twilight crit. It was.
I haven't seen it
They
yet.
did a live stream of it on Flow Bikes. Hi, Flow Bikes. Steal my Lex Luthor, but I watched the whole thing and it was kind of cool. It was a live stream, and the commentators were, Frankie Andreo, was a shit. So it was good. He was a live event announcer, so it was a little different. But there was a moment where within the crit itself, that one rider went down, and for some reason they neutralized the race. And there was a break with probably 10, 15 seconds. At least 15 seconds up. And because they neutralized the race, they came around and everybody just started losing their shit with USAC refs, with Frankie. They're yelling at the announcers and stuff like that. You hear them audibly in the broadcast saying, guys, we're just the announcers. Quit yelling at us. And so they figured it all out and then got everything going again and tried to restart the race with a 10 to 15 second gap.
Right.
Anyway,
normal.
Turns out that gap stayed and those people won the race. But the amount of emotion and drama and adrenaline fueling that these guys were all dealing with just shows how, irrational our minds can get when something goes out of the norm. Somebody touches you, somebody swerves into your lane, somebody does something like that. And, we were saying earlier about the fact that, when I was talking about coming off of mountain bike racing, a lot of mountain bike racing, and being comfortable in a crit, that I could bump somebody's rear wheel with my front wheel and be fine with it. But the person who I bumped was screaming at me.
Right.
I'm like, dude, it's okay. I'm
Also-
good. You're
Also,
good.
you lose that battle 10 times out of 10. They win 10 times out of 10. Why are they yelling?
Yeah.
It's your front wheel, their rear wheel.
Exactly. So
I think now that you mention it, it seems like during crits, there's so much intensity. You're going at an extremely high pace. You know what I mean? And there's constant. There's bumping. There's jockeying. You unintentionally cut someone off, and they get pissed off. And you might be the second person that did it to this guy, and they're going to dump on you. I mean, for some reason, it seems like Criterium's, you are right on the razor's edge, emotionally and everything, because all it takes is just a few seconds and you get a gap at 27, 30 miles an hour in a crit, and it's over.
Yeah.
And you don't want, and so then you're just pissed off if somebody does something stupid or throws, breaks your concentration.
It would have been really interesting to kind of bring it all back to this incident with Jackson, because I know the person who they had the situation with, and I know this person is a good guy and things like that. And it would have been an interesting situation to have them to discuss something afterwards. I don't know if they're ever, are there always that, hey man, sorry, or does it sometimes just keep going into the fuck you range? So I don't know.
I think that's based on the individual.
Sure. By the way, that Athens Twilight crit, it was a well covered race. The spectators of the entire course were 3 to 5 deep.
Oh yeah,
it was a Twilight crit, an evening crit. I think the men's race went into like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night almost, and it was poetry. Here's what I wish for our world: that every major city in the United States realizes how cool it would be to have one of these.
Agreed.
You know how balanced and successful bike racing would be in this country if every major city just did one day of a Twilight crit.
Yeah, or one per state,
Yeah,
Make
one per
50
state,
races.
yeah.
Boise's got theirs.
Yeah.
We need one.
Shit,
Where's it
that
going to
would
be?
great.
Seattle? Hell no, let's put it in Spokane.
Yeah.
Right here. We talked about that in our last show. What have you guys been watching for bike racing? Is anybody keeping up on the women's Vuelta?
I saw highlights of the
David, I won't throw you into this.
Yeah.
the TT with Little Trek and Ellen Van Dyke.
Oh, okay.
Racing out in the corner, but they still won.
Yeah.
It was the final corner.
It's good racing. Allison Jackson had a great victory yesterday, a great sprint victory, and her energy is so infectious. It was great. Mariana Voss, absolutely, she put the hammer down in the final 200 meters and had over a bike length. It's great racing, and I hope people are watching it. It is Grand Tour season, officially starting this weekend, so let's take a moment to dive into the Giro for 2024. I should have some Italian music in the background. No, I don't want to be too horribly offensive. But the Giro for 2024, hopefully not the Tour de Tade. Let's be honest. How would you guys rate your excitement level? David, I know you're kind of like, as we said at the beginning of the show, you're like, dude, I'm going to watch this. I'm in.
Well,
how would you rate your level of excitement?
I think I'm, my excitement is not just bike racing, but my wife and I are going to Italy. Towards the end of the year, we're taking our bikes, planning on just riding. I want to kind of get an idea of where we're going to ride, and I'm kind of hoping to just do a lot of Giro routes and ride some of the places I'm watching and that sort of thing. So, to be honest, that's probably what I'm most excited for, because I don't know how much I'm anticipating an upset or anything.
Yeah.
So
after so many years with the Giro happening, I guarantee you, if you leave your door and ride, the chances of you being on some sort of a Giro course might be pretty high.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
You're pretty successful. Paul, how excited are you?
Giro's typically one of my favorite. Usually is my favorite just for the racing standpoint. And I think this is going to be interesting. Yeah, Toddy will probably sweep it, but I was sitting there thinking, could he? Because the first stage is slightly hilly, and even the second stage is a hilltop. That finishes on a Cat 1. He could possibly wear the pink jersey all the way through. Last person to do that was Johnny Bunio.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
okay.
Johnny Bunio, and then also Eddie Merckx, of course. But, that's the type of thing, because he's just making history.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think it's been discussed that if all goes well for him, he might even do the Vuelta. So he has the potential of being the first man in history in the same year winning all 3 Grand Tours. He's going to base it on.
Oh my God! Now that's just being.
That would be
selfish.
cool, though. That would be cool. But he is there. There's something about watching. a prolific winner that sometimes I like Mathieu Van Der Poel. Sometimes I almost root against him.
Do you?
Yeah, I have a tendency to root against him. I there's something about him that just kind of rubs me the wrong way, and it's not. I don't know what it is. I just but with Tade, I was just like, yeah, whatever. That he's top notch.
You think he could? You think he could win the Tour too?
Yeah, I think so. I think he'll be the first person to do it since Pantani in '98, especially with people knocked out.
Yeah. That's been a huge
Vindigo.
Is there
possibly?
I thought he was maybe going to make it.
Yeah, but can you imagine? He had a punctured lung, and he hasn't even been on the bike yet.
As opposed to being there at top level.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Remco is back on the bike.
He's back on the bike. So, those are the, Remco, I don't know. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see him do his tour, but I would never put it, I wouldn't.
How could he be beaten in this type of a situation? I mean, we have the rosters here in front of us, and how could somebody like Tade with what he's doing, other than, a crash, heaven forbid, we don't want that.
I would think his weakness are longer hills and heat. So, but the Giro typically doesn't get hot when they hit the mountains. So he does well in the cool weather. That would be it. If you could just get him isolated, and that's what Jumbo-Visma did back, when Vindigo beat him. Yeah. It was just get him isolated.
Would it be a boring stage race if he led from beginning to end?
Well, probably just for the winning standpoint, but I think the battle for even podium is going to be very good.
Yeah.
And my selections will show that too.
Okay. Yeah, because what I was going to do, well, actually, let me ask a couple more questions. Visma Lease Bike looks like they don't have anything to work with except stage wins. Am I wrong on that?
I picked one of them.
You did? Okay, okay. Our USA contingent, we have several American riders in this. We have Magnus Sheffield, we have Larry Warbus, we have Luke Lamperti, we have Will Barda, and we have Kevin Vermark. I don't see. I don't know what Lisa Bike's plan is, but having Matteo Jorgensen obviously scheduled for something bigger and better, maybe a Tour de France type of an effort. I mean, maybe they're keeping that card close to the chest so Matteo can ride in the Tour and maybe bring him something to go home with. I mean, I guess is that the theory, you think?
Yeah, I'm sure they're going to do whatever they can on the big show.
Try to save some numbers. Okay, so what other names stand out? So what I'm going to do is what I'm basically saying is let's pick 3 riders that aren't Tadej Pogačar. Because let's be honest, anybody who is a betting person is going to be betting on Tadej to win this.
So that's a given for everybody.
That's a given.
On this time, we picked three
other podium contenders that do not have the name of Tadej Pogačar. Now there are some, some other ones that are very interesting. We've got the return of Nairo Quintana. We do.
Yeah, well, he's won it.
We've got Julian Alaphilippe, who is, I think, struggling with contract issues, and I can't imagine all the stuff that poor guy's going through. And we go from there. But I'll give you mine, for example. I have to pick Geraint Thomas because my wife demands it. My wife asks every time a bike race is on, even if it's a mountain bike race, jokingly she says, "Is Geraint Thomas in it?" And I'm like, "No, honey."
So you're picking Geraint?
I am picking Geraint for one of my riders. Oh, you don't have to cancel it out.
No.
I am also picking Ben O'Connor from Decathlon AG2 Desert Mondial, and I'm picking Hugh Carthy. Just out for some, I think those guys are kind of podium contenders. I would love to see Geraint Thomas avenge his last year. God, that was a heartbreak. That still bums me out how close he came to winning the whole damn thing, and then it just fell apart at the end. But I think the youth of Tadej Pogačar is going to take it away from him.
I picked Geraint Thomas as well.
Okay, that's fair. Paul's circling names for you.
Ben
That's
O'Connor.
adorable.
Did you pick Ben O'Connor?
No.
I picked
That's
Ben
one that
O'Connor.
I would. Did you?
Yeah, I picked Ben
Oh,
O'Connor.
okay.
No, that's okay. We can.
What about Laporte? Can he do this one?
No.
No.
He can.
He won a
maybe take a
stage.
stage or two. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I knew that was a dumb one. All right, fine. Ben O'Connor, and I was thinking Bardet.
Yeah,
I picked
that's
that
a
one.
good choice. That's a good choice,
That's one of
especially
mine.
with after his
Second place on that.
Yeah, yeah, that was a good ride. That was a good ride. Paul, did you have any
At
other?
Bardet, and then Daniel Felipe Martinez from Bora. He's doing pretty good. And then number 177, Kian Utebrooks.
Oh.
He's a promise. He's 20, 21. He won the Tour of l'Avenir last year, and he's like top 8. He was with Bora last year, and he left that team. So I think although his numbers, you don't have him numbered because number 1 is the leader usually on.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
But I think you'll find him up there.
I mean, we've got stage glory abound. If I look at some of these names, I mean, I'm looking at Biniam Gumray. I'm looking at Michael Woods. I'm looking at Simon Clark. I'm looking at Alaphilippe.
Who's this Van Poppel guy? I just really want that to be a winning name.
It is
dad
from
was
the
winner.
past.
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
You young
and his,
punk.
Yeah. he just got DQ'd on a race, I think, in a sprint.
Yeah, he did.
Mhm.
He did. He didn't necessarily veer, but the road
Well, the
didn't
turn, I
go
didn't think it was a
straight.
good call.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Mm.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
It was a little messed up.
Danny Van Poppel made a big comment about, what's his name? Bennett that left that team, the one that's been bouncing.
Bennett?
Sam Bennett.
Oh yeah,
Not-
yeah,
Is it Sam? Yeah, Sam Bennett, the sprinter.
yeah, yeah.
They had another sprinter, and he said it's nice to lead out somebody who can win.
Oh, nice. Low blow.
How are you guys planning on watching?
Waiting for
Max.
you to tell me.
Max.
Mhm.
Okay, you do have Max.
Mhm.
Okay, because I was wondering because that's how I'm going to be watching
Mhm.
it, and Max has it every day without struggle.
And
Without
it'll have Rob Hatch and Sean Kelly on it, and they'll do the breakaway on their shows, which is the old GC and pre and post stuff.
you gonna just
I just wait
highlight
I just wait for when you guys tell me how to watch it, and then Sam pays for whatever it is, and I borrow his password. Yeah. I never had a GCN. I just used his.
really.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. No, hey, I'm that way with my YouTube TV. I'm able to share it to up to 5 people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if we're gonna share chamois, what's the difference?
Whoa.
That's revolting.
Yeah.
You have crossed a line, man. That is disgusting. Oh, chamois shares. Okay. And by the way, you can do that. And I know I'm mentioning a sponsor, but Nord with Flow Bikes, if you tell them you're in Canada, you can get that access. My
Nice.
problem with Flow Bikes is just the replay element of it. If I get up and watch live, I'm good. But if I don't, I'll click on the website and it'll show me either a headline, it'll show me the final standings, it'll show me all that stuff.
Can you get Flow Bikes on your Apple TV?
Yeah. No, you have to turn on the app on your Apple TV and then log in with your phone, and they need to communicate with each other. So if your phone is in the United States, but your computer, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, or actually vice versa. If your Apple TV is at home in Spokane, Washington, but your phone, the world thinks it's in Canada, you're
That
fucked.
you registered.
You're fucked.
So this is,
Yeah.
we had problems with it when you set up Peru Bay down here,
Yeah.
and that was Flow Bikes.
Major problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I went home and I've tried to turn on, because Flow Bikes, if it's even without using a VPN, the ones that we can get through Flow Bikes, I turn it on. All I get is just Flow Bikes. It won't even come on. I've deleted it and then brought it back, downloaded it, and I can't get it through my Apple TV. I can't project it onto it. I can't do anything to my Apple.
I would love for somebody who's dealing with this to talk to us, because I'm so frustrated with them.
Yeah.
And the GCN was just this beautiful world. It was this dream world where we had everything on one platform. And it was just,
So easy to pull up at work.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
everything was all right there.
Now the max setting is nice. It works. But then again, when we get to the Tour de France, we're going to have to either be Peacock or jump through the hoops.
Is there a phone app you can watch like the Max on?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
nice.
I have it on my phone.
Yeah.
I have it on my iPad.
Yeah.
All
And I
right.
have it on my Apple.
Sometimes
TV.
he two fists.
Oh,
I do.
He'll have it on
If there's two
different
races
devices.
like Torino Andretico and then Paris-Nice,
Paris-Nice. Yeah.
I'd have my iPad on one and
wow.
yeah,
I'll watch them at different times, but Paul
Yeah.
has that ability.
because they're usually kind of different. One's closer to the end to the other, and that's
Yeah.
the one that gets the big TV.
Hey, this is intentional news story that I wanted to bring up just specifically because I knew David was here. And what the hell news. Did you see that not only will Mark Cavendish be riding up for this year's Tour of Hungary, but alongside him will be none other than Peter Sagan.
No, I didn't see that. That's phenomenal.
Peter's going to return to pro road racing for from what I'm understanding is reasons to be able to up his game. Sure. To get prepared for mountain biking. His attempt to be in the Olympics and are very challenged right now because you need to have a certain amount of points. You need to be,
Sure.
a ranking in order to qualify for the Olympics. And right now, I mean, he's been MIA.
I was like, what is that? Not in
Yeah.
action?
Not in action.
That works
yeah,
too, you know?
it does work.
It works.
Thanks, Paul. So that's going to be something of challenge. So it should be interesting to see not only Peter, but Peter and Mark Cavendish, back at it. Maybe they won't be throwing elbows at each other or something like that. But and Peter's fitness level is going to be completely different compared to what the road calendar requires.
Right.
Anybody been watching the mountain bike racing on Max? I know I'm
No.
alienating Paul. It's brilliant. It's good. The cross-country mountain bike racing has changed 1,000%. My wife and I watch it, and we used to go, back in the old days, to a lot of races around our region, and there were some pretty good, World Cup level races within the region back when mountain biking was in its infancy. And when you would see a cross-country mountain bike race that would start in the athletic village, and then you'd maybe see them twice
Right.
before the end, and it was a 30
Singles too, just like
yeah, and it was a 30, 40, 50-mile race kind of a thing. Now it is, I would qualify it as and this is not meant to be an insult.
Circuit, right?
It's a circuit. It's almost like a very hard, glorified cyclocross race, and it
Right.
lasts a little longer. It's about 2 hours max
Yeah.
for a cross country. The short tracks are like under 30 minutes.
Wow.
It's unbelievable how the sport has changed.
Yeah.
Now, I can't bash that because I see the spectators. I see what's happening to the sport. I see the popularity of it.
It's exciting. I mean, I watch.
Yeah.
There's a gal from college that is in the UCI Worlds Tour or whatever.
Yeah.
And I mostly am following it on Instagram or whatever, but it looks fun. I mean, like they get to practice the courses beforehand, and they go out there and they are just like, it's all tactic and all endurance. There's people everywhere.
It's fast.
Yeah. They're insane.
It's impressive
Yeah.
riding. It is very impressive riding, and I'm thrilled by it. And then we'll go to our race tomorrow night, and the loop is 9 miles, and that's it. It's not the same style of racing, but
And it looks slow. Riding a bike on a race course for cars, you look slow no matter how fast you go.
yeah. Any thoughts on Pete's temporary return to pro racing? Do you think you will see him at the front at the pointy end of this race, or it'll just be nothing?
I still feel like he just lost so much motivation
Yeah.
towards the end of his career. So I wonder if maybe he's coming back with new motivation to get into the Olympics, and so maybe he'll actually do something.
I think it's just a stress test on his ticker.
It probably
That's
is.
what he's
Yeah,
doing.
he's
Yeah.
going through the same thing. Yeah, so Peter and I have that in common. How about the ever elusive Mark Cavendish and his quest for
Doesn't he need to win a tour stage?
the win, the tour
That's
win?
it.
He is tied with Eddie Merckx.
He needs one now, yeah?
He needs one.
Yeah.
I don't see it happening.
I don't know.
The guy's been plagued with illness.
There's-
Time is not on his side.
There's one thing you can say. People have written him off so many times.
True.
And that's the only thing. It wouldn't surprise me, but I'm like, wow. But, Tour of Turkey, when he came out 2 years ago, I think that's when it was 2 years ago. And
Yeah.
I mean, he just won like 3 or 4 stages, I believe. And he's just, everybody's like, well, that didn't go, he didn't race against really good sprinters.
Yeah.
But then in the Tour, he started racking them up. So, yeah, there's possibilities there. I'd like to see him do it just because I like people who, he's got a goal and that's what he wants to do, and I applaud him for that.
I mean, this entire season is dedicated to one win.
Yeah.
Not even like how people are targeting one race. He just wants one win.
One day.
And I feel like he's capable from like the physiologic standpoint, so I think he can do it. I think we'll see it.
Oh God, I never thought I was a pessimist.
Huh. Really?
Apparently, I live and breathe. Let's get to our segments tonight. Brought to us by our friends at Pros Closet. Vast array of gear and full bikes, although gently used, could trick just about anybody into thinking you're a dentist, or at least a dentist budget. Use our link at Packfiller as it helps us stay hydrated. We have got a 2 bumper in a row night because we've got to go straight into asking Dr. David because we don't have the other people to talk to. We just got 2 segments tonight.
All right.
You still have the coolest bumper.
Also, listening to these when I was listening last week, they sound really good.
Do they?
Yeah, when you're like,
I have the levels up right?
that sounds
think so.
better than on the headphones even.
Oh, good God. Okay, good to hear. Yeah. The topic tonight was talking about the ever elusive nectar that is caffeine, that is coffee, that is what it brings to us and makes us so happy. And you couldn't hit this more straight on the head in terms of what importance
Especially the 3 here.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We're coffee snobs,
Yeah.
and we're different coffee snobs.
Yep.
I never knew you guys were.
I used
first
to be
crack
like
guys.
you. Second crack, I was all second crack, but I think they tasting some better coffee with first crack. It's like, to me, second crack. Now everybody's probably wondering, what the fuck are you guys
The
talking
roasting
about?
process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has smoky. It's heavy. You can get some notes, but it's kind of like IPAs.
Yeah.
To me, it's just kind of, it's one-dimensional.
That's a
as
one
a
trick
tendency.
pony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not that that's a bad thing. Sometimes I kind of gravitate to that. But with first crack, depending on the region and stuff, you can get like unbelievable amount of like different flavors and notes and that type of thing.
Agreed.
So.
Mildly has a flavor and aroma of sweat socks.
Yeah.
God. But caffeine and coffee and cycling are like peanut butter and jelly.
Yes.
2 things that will always be paired together, more so than beer and bikes. I would honestly say.
agree.
The
100%.
importance of coffee. Are there performance enhancements? Are there performance unenhancements? I don't know if that's technically a word, but I'm going with it.
Detriment's a good word.
Detriments. Thank you. Far better. Far better.
Yeah, I mean the endurance benefit of caffeine specifically, not coffee, but caffeine has been established for far longer than I even know. That's without a doubt, especially in endurance athletes. Caffeine has been shown to improve performance, even in efforts as short as like 1 to 5 minutes. Drinking caffeine before your exercise is without a doubt of benefit.
Wow.
That being said, it does look like it helps more in well-trained athletes. So, if you don't drink coffee and you don't exercise and you just
shit, I'll just go do something else. Might as well go check the car for my phone.
Well, just so you know, in medicine, well-trained is a low bar.
Oh,
all right, because we're talking about the general American population. So
tell me there's a chance.
Everybody that sits at this bar is considered well-trained. We benefit from caffeine.
Suckers.
But I think more so than just taking it to benefit from a better performance on a bike ride. I'm a big proponent of coffee, as everybody knows. Coffee being your vessel for getting the caffeine, that is. But we've looked at. Everybody's studied coffee in every different way. Does it help you live longer? Does it reduce cancers? Does it affect your blood pressure, your cholesterol, all these things? And by and large, most things suggest that it either has no impact on the things that we're worried about, like cancers or cholesterol.
Yeah.
And more than likely has beneficial outcomes for things like cognitive function. Especially cognitive function improves not just with 1 cup, but people who drink it every single day tend to perform better overall. And cardiovascular outcomes even. I think people hear about not drinking it for hypertension and AFib. But there's actually...
Wait, what?
Well, excessive amounts. But there are some studies that suggest that it's even beneficial for reducing cardiovascular mortality, like death from heart attacks and such.
Wow.
And so...
Because it dilates? Does it help dilate?
So caffeine causes vasodilation in some parts of the body and vasoconstriction in others. It causes specifically vasoconstriction in the brain. That's why it helps with migraines. And vasodilation more in the periphery. I don't know what it does to the coronaries, the heart arteries. But anyway, take-home message in my mind, caffeine in a reasonable amount is absolutely not anything anybody should worry about. If you enjoy the taste of it, absolutely go for it. Try not to muck it up with creamer. That's my only, personal opinion. But, and then good quality coffee is the other thing. We're not talking about highly processed,
rhymes with my last name.
Yeah, rhymes with Bulger.
Yeah.
We're talking about good quality coffee in reasonable amounts. So. Yeah.
And you're seeing it. We see it in gels. We see it in things like that. Talk to me about. Is that as clean of a source of caffeine? I don't.
It's a more potent source is the thing, and so you have to be mindful of how much you're taking. You can take a caffeine pill with a ridiculous amount of caffeine.
Yeah.
And like I said, moderation.
How about a suppository?
You could hit it. You could hit it there, and it would be even more ridiculous.
Yeah.
But so I think that's something you should use more sparingly. This is more of an opinion than anything else. But I use caffeine in the maple syrup untapped stuff.
Yeah.
I use those on races.
Yeah.
I don't train with those. You got to save something for race day, right? But, that's going to be more potent. That's the only thing I would say you need to worry about. You shouldn't be taking, a couple grams of caffeine a day. Recommended dose is probably less than 300 milligrams, but I exceed that probably daily.
I was going to say, what would be in a regular shot of espresso? I'm not putting you on the spot here.
150?
I want to say 80 in a shot.
It? Oh, yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And drip coffee actually can have more than espresso if you brew it in a like pour over or something like that.
French press.
French press.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So a couple cups. And then, just proof is in the pudding here. If you're cirrhotic, more is better. A lot of these positive if your liver's shot, that's what, if for anybody who doesn't know what cirrhotic is, we have lots of studies that, more...
I thought you were talking about the bike brand, the Steel Serratas.
Not Serrata, cirrhotic. If you have liver disease,
seriously, that's what I thought you were saying.
More caffeine is mo better for living longer. Also, obesity, type 2 diabetes, all of these things decrease in a
Really?
Like the more coffee you drink, the less insulin resistance you have. And again, I don't want to preach that you should be drinking only coffee. I think,
or pounding it, or doing something stupid to yourself.
And I don't think people should try to use this to reverse these sorts of issues. But if you enjoy coffee and you're worried that somehow it's not good for you, I would say that is not true. In moderation, good quality coffee is probably doing you benefit more than anything else.
Wow.
So
do beer next.
Yeah. Okay. That's a little harder.
And heroin. Do heroin. Wait,
Meth?
did I say that out loud?
Yeah.
Shit. That was a good one. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna add some sound effects to this one, but we gotta go to Changing Times with Paul Main. I seriously think we should not only include some, like a squeakish of a break, and it should twist to like total like Marilyn Manson style, like da 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 at the end of it or something, just like going, just totally, because it's changing times, right?
Gotcha,
So
gotcha.
yeah. So, Paul, what you got for this week?
Well, I was sitting there thinking, you and I were talking about the size of packs, like racing crits with 100 and some, and Sam's going to experience that. That's going to be a huge.
I am so jazzed that to at least a local extent, this is coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's light at the end of the fucking tunnel here.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's just those experiences, even when you're just, I'd be in the middle thinking you're in the wash machine. You're like, oh, I'm moving up. Next thing you know, damn it. I'm getting too far back, and you're looking, there's like two people behind you, and you're like, I got to get up, that whole time. And I'd like to see that come back, and I think it could come back. And I think whatever happened to people that are my age, that to me, that was the thrill. It's not always winning. Just the image, and I can remember this one. It was down at La Grande, and it was a pretty big race. It was a stage race. And the final stage was a criterium, of course. That was typical.
Yeah.
And Borky and I were like battling back and forth. Just hanging in there. Borky was a better rider than I was. But I remember sitting there thinking, I got to concentrate, got to stay on this wheel. And looking over, and we had, a single file down the sprint, and they had hot laps for $100 for that fastest. And that's like, when you're on the edge and you hear that, the announcer, you're like, oh no.
Yeah.
Because we're already doing 30 miles an hour, and then it's just 37.
Not an opportunity.
Yeah.
It's a how the fuck am I going to make it another lap?
You don't want to be the person that sets that gap.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be, you're just like, oh God, no, just hang on. Yeah, I don't want to be the guy. Yeah,
they're going to
hate me.
Somebody's put their hand on my ass.
Yeah. Don't you touch me. So,
yeah.
But I remember looking over just like in this deep pain area, and I see this girl because the draft that we've kicked up, and the sun was behind her head, and she had this long red hair, and it's just like these fibers sticking up. Hey, that's pretty cool. And I'm thinking, what the hell am I? Those are the things.
Another planet.
And it's different than the way they're racing. But then I started thinking back. I never stopped, and a lot of people stopped for various reasons, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
And so then I started thinking, what is it about cycling? I wasn't a prolific winner or anything, but the whole, challenging yourself, you can get that with mountain bikes and cyclocross and all that. I get that, and some people love to be out in the woods and all that. But why is it that road cycling really, ticked that box for me? And to me, it's the racing, and it's not right. I enjoy riding and training, but I love racing. I love taking in the situation and all the variables and stuff. And I find it strange that nobody else seems to really get that. Because they leave. If you don't finish first, if you ain't first, you're last.
Yeah.
So and I think that's the only thing that kept me in that sport, because I didn't win that much, but the whole idea is just always battling and finding out what this person's weakness is and seeing if I can get them to fall into that trap, and that type of thing, and using my skills to. That's the part of cycling that just thrills me. And I don't get that off. And just to explain on a mountain bike, I don't get. I'm sure there's times, but for me, it's just. It gets technical at a point where that becomes more of an issue than anything
It becomes course dependent to a certain extent.
But
yeah.
I will say, I think that is one of the reasons I enjoy it, is because within mountain biking, just like within crit racing, you've got power, you've got corners, you've got people who can move through a crowd or find the right wheel or drift or sprint or whatever. Same thing in mountain biking. You know, you've got people who could destroy you through a rock garden and put 10 seconds into you. You got people who could take off up a climb, people who will just go through a corner quicker than you, and you do have to figure out where you're going to beat your opponents with your skill sets. You know, like the only thing I feel like I have is power from the road. And I have to figure out how to use that specifically in mountain biking, because there's people who'll just drop me through a few corners. And so, but it's the same thing. It's that love of like messing with people.
You know, and that's, you know, to put a third perspective on that, I find it very interesting that some of my best times on the bike right now are the group rides we're doing, which are in some cases harder than the rides I do.
Sure.
I mean, the races I do. You know, riding with you guys, there are times when I'm bleeding through my eyeballs, just going, oh, okay, I'm getting, you know, it's my turn next. You know, but I understand. I understand, but I don't understand to a certain extent, because maybe it's because, Paul, I've raced since the 80s, and there becomes this anxiety about racing again, you know, because I spent so many years thinking that I'm sliding up to this race to win. It's weird to enter a race thinking, what happens if I don't? What happens if I don't meet my expectations? And, you know, this is again a walk into the mental and absolute fucking funhouse that is Pat's head. But, you know, it's so I end
but
up.
I don't think you're alone in that, and
Yeah.
I think that's why rider drop off. I mean, you just look at categories and age group, and recognizing.
But I can't drop out. I can't quit.
No, but I'm saying, like, the comment is because you were a Cat 2 and you stepped down to a 4 because you were doing juniors and you could ride with them, right? Yeah. And so then
I'm a 3
you're 3
now.
now.
So yeah.
And when you're 50 years old, why would you need a Cat 2? All you need is a Cat 3 to go to nationals. If that's your deal, there's no advantage, but bragging rights. Yeah. And I think a lot of people have a tendency, because you were at this level, and, you know, there's no way I'm touching my 27-year-old self.
Yeah.
There is no way. But that's the other challenge of it, is that every once in a while you can get that young kid that, you know, at 61 you're putting the screw to him. You know,
and you know what? I also notice sometimes, and this is the last thing I'll comment on this. I find it funny that I have a problem that sometimes that I'm okay that there's no longer anybody who knew who I was, but sometimes I get angry at people who don't know who I am.
I've been there, done that, you little bastards.
Shit.
You fucking touch me on the ass, I'll kick your ass. I was bike racing when your idea of a good
time
was
shitting green.
Yeah, you were gnawing on a popsicle watching Bugs Bunny. Little shit.
You're glitting your dad's eye.
Not even.
Oh shit. So there we go. Okay. So we're gonna round it out. I'm not going to play the bumper because this is a little bit of a longer final K to the end out the show here, and this could probably even lean into the entire topic of a show. But my final question for you guys is your stance on living carless. Could you, if you had to, become a bike commuter full time? If so, what's holding you back? If not, why? What is keeping you from living the entire pure cyclist life? I find it interesting talking to a lot of cyclists, because a lot of us tend to be like, yeah, I love my bike. I live on my bike. I'm driving to the fucking store. I mean, you know, I'm not stupid.
Yeah.
What do you guys take on bike commuting and the idea of living mildly carless? Because, you know, we got to drive to races.
I don't think I could do it. I mean, I have the e-bike, which does that count?
Yeah,
it's really fun.
It is, and I use that to commute, and that's great. But like the biggest thing is like when I'm commuting, when I'm going to the store, you're riding places that like I've learned over the last couple of years. I don't really want to be in heavy traffic.
Yeah.
I don't really want to be the cyclist in heavy traffic anymore. I don't want to put myself in those positions anymore. I don't. It's not just like convenience. It's mostly like the safety factor of it. And then we live in a freaking northern climate. Like, I'm not putting studded tires on. I'm not putting a bunch of layers on. And so I think that's a huge deterrent for me. I rode my bike. I didn't have a car in college because I had a bike. And I wasn't just, I left my car in Spokane because it was like, I have a bike and I lived in California.
Yeah.
And that was fine. And I was dumb and wasn't afraid of cars yet. So I think if you
hadn't been hit yet.
Yeah, I hadn't been hit yet. And so I think if you take those, and you have more time is the other thing. Like when I'm in college, you got so much time. Now I'm like, I'm going to rush to get to work. I'm going to rush to get here, and biking takes a little bit longer. So I just don't think all those things combined, I don't think I could do it. I think I still need to be able to drive places.
Paul?
If it wasn't for my wife, I'd do a lot more. She worries because of my age and stuff. And I used to commute in the winter. I had studded tires. I did it all. And I've got a bike designed just for commuting, and I enjoy it. Our car is now 12 years old, and it has 42,000 miles on it.
Nice.
So you basically do commute.
We do.
That's
and
impressive.
that was part of it, because I had a work vehicle. That's the only thing, and I rode to work all the time. I was an electrician with the city. It's just I try to as much as I can, but when it's icy, getting up from downtown Spokane to where my car is, you're not going to do. Yeah, it's ice. Yeah, and so winter is a hassle. And when I was in Belgium with Dave back in 18, there was a cargo bike that I thought, if I had that, it was a 700C back, kind of like a 32C wheel, and with tire, and then it had a smaller front one, and it was just this cargo bike. And in downtown Ghent, that's how things get around. I mean, you buy beer. Beer was distributed, kegs and stuff like on bikes. I mean, it's pedestrian area in this one area where we're at. I mean, the infrastructure in especially Western United States, I can speak of, it's not there.
No.
Yeah.
But and I can understand why.
There's so much more ground to cover.
Yeah. And Spokane is hilly, and that doesn't really make when like for me to ride my bike up here, which I probably will next Tuesday, but I have to see how my dog reacts, But my wife hates it when I ride at night, and I've got everything that, I've got lights and everything.
Flashers,
but
yeah.
You're gonna break a hip. That type of thing. So that's probably my wife is a little bit of a drawback because she worries about it, and every day, even commuting during the day, when I ride to my car, I have to text her saying I made it.
Yeah.
So that
I do that with my wife even still, and she follows me on Strava. She gets a notification every time I leave for a ride. Oh, really? So I can't go any place sketchy. Good. Like the casino. I can't. I mean, I know that it is, as far as being a good person, a steward for the planet, it's a great thing to do. I don't want to leave at 6:30 in the morning with all kinds of rain gear on and get to work and strip it all off again. You know what?
If you get the right gear and stuff,
really?
It sounds like a hassle, but there is something when you ride to work and stuff. I mean, other than being smelly, the hardest part is probably during summer when you're sweaty.
Oh, okay.
But if you get the right gear and stuff, and you just like I used to wear wool tights, peel those off and put my work pants on. They were on my bag. Yeah. Pull those out. I was dry. Turn the heater on my van. I mean, there's ways to get around it.
And have you guys seen these Euro style bikes that almost look like a mini car? Like one of those. Yeah. It's not a mini because I drive a mini. But what is the tiny little cars?
Oh, smart car.
Yeah, like a little smart car. They're bikes that look like that.
Yeah.
I was like, that would be an interesting way to get to and from work, or something like that.
But I mean, at a certain point, aren't you just driving a really small EV with fake pedals on
it?
Yes,
like exactly. Exactly. Yeah, you got to get to the point where it's like, okay, enough of this shit. Just.
But you've commuted. to work?
I have
Swallowed a bee?
Fair weather.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair weather. Yes, I have swallowed a bee.
have.
I apparently ride around like one of the sand
Mouth
worms
breather.
from Dune.
Oh, nice.
That's how I apparently commute by bike. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Oh, I love it.
Well, I think we all need to raise a glass and wish Sam to go
Yep.
fast and keep the Riverside down this weekend. Go fast, Sam.
Yeah, because we don't want to hear about it otherwise.
Be incessant realm of bullshit come
Yeah.
next week. Well, if he shows up, you know, he told me he just can't make shows very often anymore.
Wow. In a text, no less.
Yeah, I know. While you're in the same building.
Insincere bastard.
Yes. And Jackson will be back. I think he's just resting himself to be able to, you know, get the 3-peat and upgrade himself to a Cat 2. The dude's riding like a Cat 2, let's be honest.
Sure is.
Everybody, thank you two for being here tonight
you,
and
Matt.
having a beer with me. And everybody, keep the Riverside down. We will catch you next week. Go Giro.
Yeah.
Oh, Giro.
Right?
And Sam.
And Sam. Clear. Oh, you want to read that?
What is this?
Let me hit stop on the.
Is Sam?
That's my
I see something about specialty coffee
that's my
roaster.
business proposal.